Hello, this is a video about minor scales and how to do the 3 different types of minor scales. So if you haven't learnt any minor scales with your teacher yet, then keep this video for a later date, okay? So you'll have the link forevermore and you can come to it at a later date when you feel comfortable with it. So there are 3 types of minor scale. 1 is that you have a natural minor scale. 2 is that you have a harmonic minor scale, and 3 is that you have a melodic minor scale. And I like to think of the 3 different types of scale, minor scale, like the same scale. You have a mini scale, the base of the scale is like a muffin, a really lovely juicy muffin, and then we put different sprinkles on top, different flavourings to it. So they're all basically the same scale, you just have to remember what you're doing at the top. Depending on which type you're doing. So hopefully that analogy will become clearer as we go forwards. Okay, so let's just warm up our bodies again as we always do. I know this feels very repetitive, but it's just so good for you to get into the practice of it. So let's do this just quickly. Up onto our toes, down onto our heels, up onto our toes, down onto our heels. Bend your knees, feel the balls of your feet going through, give your hips a little wiggle. Here we go, there we go. So keep your knees nice and bent and flexible, but create your trunk between your hip points and the bottom of your rib cage. So we're not arching, we're not collapsing. We've got our band of strength here, which stops us doing any bad posture. So we're not arching our backs and we're not slouching. So nice core band there. Shrug shoulders, keep your knees going and drop down. Shrug your shoulders up and drop down and give your arms a little flow. Do a bit of monkey drumming. And then let's warm up our fingers. And then we go grab some air. Here we go. And then we're just going to shrug shoulders up and drop them. And again. And we're going to do noble neck. Oh, lovely. So chin. Imagine you're balancing a very soft peach under your chin. Don't want to squash it, but we don't want to drop it either. So the head should feel just balanced on the top of our necks. Okay, lovely. So tune up your instrument with the tuning video if you haven't done so already. And then we are going to just do some bowing that's going to actually join in 2 of the things that we've done so far. Now, if when you're doing the bringing your arm, so we're going to go into our playing position, so cellos, keep your cellos out, sit on your sit bones, feet through the floor and pull the cello in without collapsing your bodies, okay, and get them into a nice playing position. Make sure that your arms are nice and relaxed around your cello. So you can hold either side of your fingerboard and just do a cello elbow flap, okay? Upper strings, go onto your shelf and hold with your hand here. Now, we're going to combine this movement with our bows this time. So you might want to go and grab a grown-up in a little bit. We'll have to pause the video so that they can hold the scroll for you so that we don't create a lot of tension here. So let's first hold the instruments if you need to hold them. We're just going to stroke up and down our neck of our violin, and then we go up and the elbow comes round, elbow comes back round and back and round, and then next time we're going to go up, round and over. So wrist for the upper strings and whole hand for the cellos. Wrist comes back, elbow down, up, round, wrist, wrist, elbow down, up, down, wrist, elbow down, up and go, and then create it into a nice fluid movement, even though it has 3 sections to it. Okay, fantastic. Okay, now upper strings, you might want to go and ask a grown-up now to come and hold your scroll for you so that you're not worrying about dropping your violin if you haven't done shifting yet, okay? Also, even if you have, because it just helps release this. Cellos, you're not going to drop your instruments, so don't worry about that one. Okay, so with somebody holding your scroll, if you need to, we're going to put our bows on at balance point, or cellos you can do it at the heel if you want to get a bit more traction there. So remember, we tap our thumb really gently so that it's on the wood between the binding and the nut. That goes for everybody. Nice curvy thumb. Then we tap the middle 2 fingers, tap the pinky, tap the one on top. Cellos, yours are slightly different. Those middle 2 fingers go opposite the thumb. Little finger hooks over, and it's just got a bit more sort of hanging feel to it. Okay, so we're nice and balanced on the D string, okay? And what we're going to do is when we do a down bow, we pull. The hand is going to pull up. So we're not actually making any sound with the left hand. So we're floating it above the strings. And then we're going to push it back down again. Pull it up. So up the neck, elbow, wrist, and push it back down. Wrist, elbow, pull it up, elbow, and push it back down. If you want to glide your finger along a string, do a string that's not the D string. So we're not doing the alien sounds at the moment because they can be quite distracting, okay? So try and keep the tone really even with your bowing hand and keep the movement really fluid with this hand, okay? So I want you to imagine that you've got a little bit of elastic attached to the hand going up and the end of your bow. So it's pulling and pushing so that they're a linked motion. So set your bow hold on the D string, pull the hand up, so up the neck, round the shoulder, right to the top, and push it back. Pull it down, and push it back. Now we're going to do the opposite this time. So what we're going to do is we're going to start, I like to call this bit the singing point of my bow. And I'm going to start on an up bow, I'm going to push. But let's just check our bow holds first, make sure that our fingers are flopped over, not resting on the top. Tap your pinky, check your thumb is bent. Okay, I'm going to do a push, and the push is going to, imagine now that the elastic's on this bit of the bow. So it's going to pull the arm up, round and up, and then it's going to pull it back down again. So up the neck, elbow, wrist, elbow, back. Now, because you've got lots to think about, your bowing might go all over the place. You might have locked your knees, make sure you don't do that. Give your knees a nice little bend. And swing up and back down again. Very good, fantastic. Okay, so we should feel that this bit of our bodies are nice and warmed up. We've been feeling the whole of the instrument and we've been using all of our bows. Okay, so today we're talking about minor scales, but before you start a minor scale, you have to play the major scale that it comes from, because minor scales and major scales are basically just to imagine a whole swatch of, like, you know when you have a colour chart, if I was going to paint my walls blue and I wanted lots of different colours of blue, I'd see a dark, a medium, I think, but they're all blue. It's the same, I like to think of things called modes, the same as that. So a mode is basically the same group of notes, but you start in a different place. So if we had C major, this is. So that's our major scale. Now, I can use the white notes of the piano, but I could start on D instead of going C. So it's the same group of notes, but I'm going D to D instead of C to C. Now it's the same notes, but it just has a much different feel. I feel that that one's quite mysterious. If I went, let's say, A to A. Same group of notes, but we're going A to A instead of C to C. Now that's what a mode is. And a major and minor scale are actually modes. They are versions of the same scale. So what I just played you here in C on down, T, La, down to the A, and I do La to La, that is our minor scale. La, Ti, Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Sol, Fa, Mi, Re, Do, Ti, La. So you can see that written here. We've got Do to Do and La to La. And Do to Do is what we know as a major scale, and La to La is what we know as a natural minor scale. Now we're going to put those onto our instruments. The key we're going to pick as our major scale is quite a tricky key. It's one that we do in grade 2. Some of you might not have learnt it yet, okay? So you can sort of, the theory that we've got now, it might be where you, yes, with the theory that you've got now, we might have to leave until you've done your B flat major scale, okay? So this is a B flat major scale, and then we're going to find the minor scale that matches that one, okay? So a B flat major scale has got 2 flats in it. So we start off on B flat, and then C, and then D, and then E flat, F, G, A, and B flat. Okay, and remember we need to split our scale in half. So we have Do to Fa, So to Do, choop, and then we're going to put it onto our strings. So if we're starting on our G string, here's our G string, and we're going to start with B flat, which will be a second finger, low 2 for violins or second finger for cellos. So we have B flat, then C with a third finger or a fourth finger depending on what you have. So, and then we have open D and then E flat. So that's a low 1. You have to move your first finger back. Some of you might not have done that yet. So if you haven't, then this video isn't for you yet. Okay, low 1, and then we have a second finger for the F, and third or fourth finger for the G, and then open A, and then B flat. Okay, which is another low 1. Second finger, okay, open strings. Okay. So let's just have a go. I'm not going to spend too long on our pitching of our major scale because we're really wanting to talk about the minors today. But I really want you to play the major scale first so that we really get the feeling of how they fit together. So to find our B flat, let's play open G and then A with the first finger and tune that with your open A. Really listen. Can you make your A buzz when you put your first finger down? Here, listen, and then snuggle your second finger. And that's your B flat. So we're going to do 2 beats on each note. So we have B flat, C, fourth finger or third finger, open D, E flat, which is a low 1, F, G, third or fourth finger, open A, B flat, low 1, open A, G, third or fourth finger, F, E flat, low 1, D, C, third or fourth finger, B flat. Now we're going to carry on down 2 notes, A and then G. Now we're going to do exactly the same scale again, but we're starting on G and we're ending on G. So we're going to go G, first finger for the A, then B flat, second finger, third finger or fourth finger for the C, open D, low 1 for the E flat, So what you've just played there is a G natural minor scale. So it's a B flat major scale that starts 2 notes lower. So let's just put that in. You've got G, let's use purple. G, A, B flat, C, D, F, G, oh. G, A, B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G. So what we notice is that the middle bits of the scales are exactly the same. So we've got G, A, B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G. But I'm going to take off the bits that are on the A bit. Here we go. And so that is our natural minor scale. So we've got one of the 3 done. Natural minors. Is La to La. So it's exactly the same scale as the major scale, but you're starting 2 notes lower and finishing 2 notes lower. Okay, so let's just, now I've drawn it up on the board, let's have one more go at our G natural minor scale. Okay, natural meaning we haven't done anything to it. It's the same group of notes as the major scale that goes with it. So open G is our La, first finger for A, B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G. Okay, so it's got B flat and E flat, it's got the same key signature as B flat major. We're just starting somewhere else in the scale. Okay, now all of the scales, the harmonic, the melodic and the natural, have the same first 5 notes. That's what I mean about the little muffin, okay? It's a mini scale. So the mini scale, the core of the scale, the first 5 notes are the same in all of the versions. So once you've got that, you then just have to change the top. So let's just practice the mini scale. So it's going to be G, A, B flat, C, D, okay? So we're going to go G, A, first finger, B flat, second finger, C, fourth or third finger, D, back down again, B flat, A, G. Let's go up again, A, B flat, C, D, C, B flat, A, and again. Okay, so that la ti do re mi re do di la 1 2 3 4 5 4 3 2 1. Those core bits of the scale, the mini scale. So mini scale is notes number 1 to 5 of the scale, of the natural minor scale. So we're going to have G, A, B flat, C, D. That bit, that group, is the same in all of the versions. Okay, so once you've worked out your natural minor scale, you can find the first 5 notes to give you your mini scale. And I'd practice those a few times, no matter what minor key you're doing. Practice the mini scale, really, really get that in your brain so that you know what the first 5 notes are. Now, the things that change are notes number 6 and 7. So the top note is always going to be the same as the starting note. So we've got natural minor scale, we've practiced the mini scale. Let's now do the harmonic. Now harmony is chords, okay? And the harmonic minor scale has a really big gap in it, okay? So instead of having the E flat here, so we've got the E flat, and instead of having the F, we stretch really high and we have an F sharp. So there's a big gap. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Note number 6 stays the same as it was. But note number 7 is moved really high, leaning towards the top of the scale, note number 8. And this big gap is called an augmented second. Augmented means it's been made bigger. So the stretch between the two notes is like a tone and a half. It's augmented, it's swollen, okay? So now, we're not going to practice the whole scale because sometimes you can get a bit lost. So let's just do the top of the mini scale. Start at D, and we're going to do note number 6, which is E flat. Stretch note number 7 to F sharp, and then find the top G. Back to the stretched close. Semitone, augmented second, semitone, semitone, augmented second. So we end up, for this harmonic topping, having a semitone between notes number 5 and 6 and a semitone between notes number 7 and 8. Okay, so you have the mini scale, and then the harmonic goes number 5 to number 6 is close, big gap, number 7 and number 8 are close as well. Okay, and we've got this augmented second. If we were looking at the pattern for the natural minor at the top, between number 5 and 6 is close, and then you have a tone between number 7 and a tone between number 8. So that is the topping of our minor scale. Our topping for our harmonic minor scale is this close 5 and 6 and close 7 and 8, so 2 semitones. So I think that's more spicy. I think of this one as like icing sugar. La to la is like, we've got our mini scale muffin and then we have icing sugar on the top. So lots of nice sort of mellow tones. I think of the harmonic minor as, it sounds quite sort of Eastern, so it has 2 semitones in it, and I think it's more like cinnamony, quite sort of spicy cinnamon. And then the last one we've got is the melodic. Now what you find is that that big augmented second doesn't really get used in tunes a lot. Now what happens in tunes is that you get a mixture of notes, which is what we're going to see in the melodic. Okay, so for the melodic, the notes actually change going up and going down because it's easier to sing. It's the version that's easier to sing for our voices. So if we have a D, it would go D going up, E, F sharp, G, and then to come down we move notes number 6 and 7 lower. G, F natural, E flat, D. So it has la 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 da 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 ya da da. Just sing that with me to dooby dooby doo. So dooby 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 doo. Instead of this one, the harmonic one, which goes which actually feels quite tricky. Dooby 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 doo. It's quite tricky to do. So the one that's tricky to sing is the harmonic. We use it in chords and harmonies. The one that's easier to sing is the one that you'll notice in melodies. When the melodies go up, we see the rising notes, and when the melodies go down, we see the low notes. So let me just explain that in actual notes. So, on the way up, so remember we've got our core scale, G, A, B flat, C, D, and then the topping. So let's start with a D. On the way up we have an E natural, F sharp, G. So let's just have a go at playing that. So we're not worrying about the mini scale at the moment, let's just do the topping. So we're going to go open D, E natural, F sharp, G. So you can feel that the notes 6 and 7 have just been moved up. Both of them moved up a semitone from where they were in the natural scale. The natural scale topping was this: A, B flat, D, E flat, F, G. And now the melodic going up is. So these two have moved from there to there, from there to there. They've both moved up a semitone, okay, on the way up. But on the way back down, they go where they were for the natural minor scale. So the way up, move them up. Now I move them back down to how they were for the natural minor scale. So a melodic minor scale going down is exactly the same finger pattern as the natural minor scale. That's the same as a natural minor scale, but going up, they just get shifted. So if I put in orange, key, F natural, E flat, those are the going down notes, and the blue notes are the going up notes. D, E, F sharp. Okay. So the melodic ones, what you will find in melodies, you will see, if let's say if you were in G minor, you would see E naturals and F sharps as the melody tends to go up in pitch, and you'll tend to see E flats and F naturals as the melody is going down. And that's why you see a lot of accidentals written in minor pieces, because they're choosing a combination of these notes. So I like to think this is more like butter icing. It's really rich and smooth and feels nice in your voice. So we have the sort of neutral, quite just sort of normal icing sugar for our natural scale, our la to la. It doesn't sound particularly different. Our harmonic minor scale has a big augmented second and 2 semitones, so it's really spicy cinnamon. And then our melodic one feels really smooth and lovely on our voice, which feels a bit like creamy butter icing. So melodic, going up, you have number 5 to 6, you've got a tone, 6 to 7, you've got a tone, and there's a semitone at the end. And then going back down again, these come back. So you've got a tone between 7 and 8, and a tone between and 5 and 6 are close. Okay, so a lot of this is scribbling. I will try and do a diagram that I can send in the link with this video so that you get the idea. But let's just have a go at practicing our minor scales in little sections. So let's do our mini scale. So play open G, A, B flat, C, D, back down again. And let's do that 3 times. Now, we're going to play the natural minor scale. So we're going to play the mini scale, and then we're going to add on the topping as if we were playing a B flat major scale. Okay, so we're just carrying all the way up a B flat major scale, but we're stopping at G. So let's start G. E flat, F natural, G. F, E flat, D, C, B flat, A, G. Okay, so that's our natural minor scale. Now we're going to do our harmonic minor scale. Let's just practice the mini scale first, so up and down. topping. So remember, for the harmonic, it's open D, E flat, big stretch to the F sharp, and then semitone here. Right, let's put the mini scale and the topping together. So mini scale. And then the topping, E flat, F sharp, G, F sharp, E flat. Back into the mini scale. And then last, we're going to do the melodic one, which is the one that changes on the way up and the way down. So we'll do the mini scale, up and down. Now we'll do the topping. So remember, we start on D and we're going to go, both of the notes are going to go higher. So E natural, F sharp. E natural, F sharp, G. And then move them back to how they were. F natural, E flat. Let's just practice that again. E, D, E natural, F sharp, G, F natural, E flat, D. Okay, so now we're going to join up the mini scale with that topping. So mini scale. E natural, F sharp, G, F natural, E flat, D, mini scale. So that's a lot to take in one go. Your teachers will teach you minor scales in lots of different ways. So this is just a different way of thinking about it that might be useful, or you might go, you know what, actually the idea of muffins and cakes and toppings just doesn't float my boat at all. But what I like to think of, so there are two sort of big take homes. One, that a natural minor scale and the relative major scale are exactly the same scale. They are the same group of notes. You're just starting 2 notes lower and finishing 2 notes lower. So these two scales, the major scale and the natural minor scale, are like, just should be the same thing in your head. Yeah, they're not complicated. It's the same group of notes. You just start 2 notes lower. So natural minor and major are like that. Okay, that's your first thing. Okay, so you should be able to work out any natural minor scale of any major scale you are playing. Okay, they are totally the same thing. Then once you can do that, find your mini scale. So the mini scale, the first 5 notes of the natural minor scale, is your core of the scale. Yeah, so if you really know those first 5 notes, then it's easy to add the changes on the top, rather than getting a bit lost. So learn those first 5 notes, the mini scale. So major scale, natural minor scale, same scale, just starting in different places. Then learn your mini scale. Make sure you've got your mini scale really sorted. And then look at your harmonic and the melodic version. And all you're playing around with is the top notes number 6 and number 7 of the scale. Sometimes they go really far apart, like in the harmonic. Sometimes they shift up and then shift back down again. And it's just knowing how those top patterns change will really cut down. You don't need to be practicing this bit. Lots of people get here, then get confused. And you're not actually practicing your minor scales there. You're just practicing the mini scale lots of times and then fudging the top. Start at the top, start at note number 5 and really know where those top notes are going and the patterns they're creating, and then join them together. So practice the topping, practice the mini scale, put them together. So major scale, link it to the natural minor scale, find the mini scale, practice your toppings separately, put them together, so that you're actively knowing which type of scale. Are you going for the natural minor icing sugar, or are you going for the spicy harmonics, or are you going for the smooth melodic butter icing? Okay, but you actively choose which one you're going for and how the logic of each scale works. Okay, Lot to take in. Hope this was useful, and yeah, I'll see you soon.